Hello. So in the last lesson, I already explained how to understand the prefixes before the prefixes to metric units. That's going to help your conversion to be very easy. So today we are going to see 4 simple steps for doing that and some examples, right? So I'll put a link to the last video in case you missed out on that, so that you can see that as basic knowledge for this one, right? Okay, so when you want to convert from one form of metric unit to another, the first thing you should do is to ask yourself, this unit I'm about to convert, is it bigger or smaller? Okay, if it is bigger or smaller, by how much? Is it 1,000 times? Is it 100 times? Is it more or less, right? Then if it is bigger, multiply by the value, and if it is smaller, then divide. Let's see some examples so that you understand what I'm talking about. So we have this over here, and then we have 73 meters. What's the value in millimeters? Now, the first thing we'd ask ourselves is meter, this unit, is it bigger or smaller than millimeter? Meter is bigger than millimeter. By how much? And I've explained in the last lesson that milli means 1,000, which means that millimeter is smaller 1,000 times than a meter. And then meter is 1,000 times bigger than a millimeter. So what you usually need to know is which of these is bigger, right? So, and then look at the prefix, what it means. That's 1,000. So since this is bigger than this, to get its value in millimeter, we multiply by 1,000. So this is 73 multiplied by 1,000. And then 73 by 1,000 is simply the decimal point, that's the imaginary decimal point at the back of 73, moving 3 places forward. 1, 2, 3. And then we fill these with zeros. What do we have? This decimal point has moved away from here. So we have 73,000. Right? Now we also have 45 meters. How much is what's the equivalent in millimeter? Meter is bigger than millimeter 1,000 times. So we also multiply 45 by 1,000, right? So we take our imaginary decimal point 3 places forward. 1, 2, 3. Fill these places with zeros. The decimal point has moved, so it can't be here anymore. It's not back. So now we have 45, 1, 2, 3, 45,000. So let's see more examples. Convert this unit to the unit shown, right? 3,000 centimeters, we want to convert it to meters. Now, is centimeters smaller or bigger than meter? Is it smaller or bigger? Centimeter is smaller than a meter. By how much? 100, right? Centi means 100th, which means meter is bigger than centimeter 100 times. So since we are converting centimeters to meters, and we know the centimeter is smaller 100 times than a meter, what do? We divide by 100. 3,000 divided by 100. Right? This is decimal point moving backwards in 2 places, right? So we divide by 100 by moving the decimal point 2 places backward. So there's an imaginary decimal point here, and then we move it 2 places backward. 1, 2. Why are we moving it 2 places backward? Because 100 has 2 zeros, right? So we have 1, 2, and then the decimal point stays here. Now our answer would be 30.00 meters, or we can simply write it as 30 meters. Why is that? Because zeros after a decimal point has no value, right? So we can either write it this way or write it simply as 30 meters. Now let's move on and see this other one, 1000 millimeter to centimeter. Which is smaller? Is a millimeter smaller or bigger than a centimeter? A millimeter is smaller, as I've explained in the previous video. Please see the link and make sure you watch that so that you can understand this better. A millimeter is smaller than a centimeter. By how much? 10 times. So if it is smaller 10 times, then we divide by 10. So we have 1000 divided by 10. Our decimal point will simply move by its place backward. And so the imaginary decimal point just takes a step backward. 1 moves from here and then it stays here after the 100. So our answer is 100.0, or you simply write it as 100 centimeters, since zeros at the back of decimal point is valueless, right? So I'm going to put the link to more examples so that you can practice and practice over and over again. Don't forget, you don't need to cram this. Just take these 4 steps. As long as you understand the meaning of these prefixes, the conversion becomes super easy, right? I'll see you in the next lesson.